Hey guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today I'm doing a VR to my homeboy across the pond, Simon of the Hermit's Cave, and he created the hashtag myfirsttarot. So he told a little story about his first tarot deck, and I've been kind of watching everybody else's videos too, and it's very interesting, everybody's foray into tarot, when they got their first tarot, all the stories behind it. I think they're all really fascinating. Let's go ahead and dive into mine. I had friends, I would say even back in elementary school, or maybe not my friends, but friends' parents, I saw tarot cards, at their house, but I didn't know they were tarot cards. I just knew that they were some sort of playing cards. And some of the cards that I would see at friends' houses were the loteria cards, because I grew up in a very Hispanic neighborhood. And although that is a game, I do know that some of my friends' parents, even back in elementary school and middle school, they would use it for divination, and it was kind of tied in with like the culture of the neighborhood, although people were very Catholic in the neighborhood, a lot of my Mexican friends and stuff, they had a very Catholic background. Like divination and all of that was kind of tied within their culture. It wasn't like separated, and it wasn't seen as like the devil or anything, being a spiritual, working with spirit and stuff like that. That was just like kind of part of the neighborhood, and stuff that I'd hear my own nana, talk about, as I was growing up, my father's mother. So like all that stuff wasn't like, foreign to me. I didn't know like what tarot cards were, but I had seen stuff that was used for divination. And so when I was younger, again, like elementary school, I had actually a card set. It wasn't a tarot card set, it was an old maid card set. And I was using it for divination, and not really to play old maid, although sometimes I was playing old maid, and the cards were huge. They were like this big, and I loved the characters on the cards. I felt like I could play with them kind of like I played with my toys, like that the characters, I can, that they all had real personalities and stuff like that. And so I used them kind of to try to help me figure out stuff that was going on, in my life. Kind of like, I guess, like therapy, like I use with my stuffed animals, but I was using it with cards. And then I had found a pack of playing cards, and I would try to use playing cards in the same way. And I had come up with my own like little odd system, and so nobody had really taught me about those cards. I kind of came up with that myself, so it was kind of interesting, I guess. Then when I got to high school, I knew a few people that did have tarot cards. Again, I didn't know how they were used, but they just said, oh, like we played with tarot and stuff like that. And they would it was said in the same vein as like talking about Ouija boards, where it was like, ooh, like this like mysterious thing, and some of my friends, their Catholic religion was very like, no, you don't mess with those, like you bring in the devil and stuff like that. And some of my friends, with their Catholic backgrounds, it was like, no, this is just like a part of, our culture. It's just what we do. Like it's totally okay. Like it's not anything demonic or devilish. And so I had like mixed feelings about it, but I didn't see that what I was doing with my playing cards, which I had started to move away from in high school, like the old maid cards, I more just started playing with playing cards. I didn't see that what I was doing was any sort of connection to the cards with, what I now know was Rider-Waite-Smith tarot depictions, images. And then when I went off to college, a lot more people were open about religion and spirituality and stuff like that. I had attended, a lot of, actually quite a few like different people's like churches and gatherings, and I was trying to get an understanding of like my friends and their beliefs and where they came from, and and before I pass judgment on people, I was like, hey, why not see what what it's all about, where, how my friends think and how my friends, what motivates them, and I had fascination with spirituality and religion, and there were a few people that were very open about like mediumship and stuff like that, and so I had such a thing for that, that was college was a great place for me to really open up, to people, whereas I kind of kept stuff to myself. Not that it was like frowned upon, but I just it's not like everybody was out in the open, where I lived, but I don't know, I just kind of kept a lot of stuff to myself. Maybe spoke mostly to my closest friends, but in college it was nice to be able to open up about a lot of stuff. And then I had a few friends that were really into tarot, and they tried to show me like how to use a pendulum and tarot and stuff like that. And so it was it was either the summer of my senior year in high school, or my first year of college, where I ended up getting my first deck. So I'm a little, it was either, it might have been the year 2000. So it might have been the year after I left school to go to the university. So this might have been the year 2000 that I got this deck, and I don't have the original deck. I had the original deck up until a few years ago, and then I gifted my original deck to one of my best friends, and she's out singing in Chicago right now in the opera, doing very well. She just finished up the Met, and so now she's in Chicago. And so basically I've given her a lot of my tarot decks, and she's like, sure, if you ever want to give me more. So my first tarot deck was the Enchanted Tarot, and it was the kind that it was actually pretty small. It was not quite playing card size. It was a little bigger than playing card size, but it had the purple backs, and it came with the Farber, book, and I was so fascinated with it. I read, like, with the book, they would have these spreads, and it would say, if you're asking this particular type of question, turn to page whatever, and it'll tell you what card or this card in that position means what, it means this, or if you're doing a certain type of reading, it means this, and so I was like constantly like flipping through the book, and I was like, man, like, how do tarot readers like memorize all this stuff? This is like 300 pages worth of stuff. Like, how do you remember? And I had that deck up until, let's see, we moved into, well, the house that I'm sitting in right now, which we moved here, probably about 6 years ago, I think. And, I would bust that deck out, and actually our old cat Presley used to play tarot with me. Well, like play tarot. I would lay out the cards, and he would actually sit there, and he would put his paw on the card that needs to be picked. I really liked working with that deck with our old cat Presley. And then after he passed away, I don't know, I don't know, maybe it was the memories of like working with it with him, and it just, we still really miss him, and so I just decided, I need to move this deck along, and I moved it off to, well, we call my friend that's in Chicago, we call her his girlfriend. Well, actually, no, there was a different girl that was Presley's girlfriend. That was Jolene, and so my friend in Chicago, she's the girlfriend of our cat Wally. So our little Puma Wally, that's his girlfriend. So, our boys, they got girlfriends. I don't know, it was like maybe a year ago. I just got this feeling like I needed to have the Enchanted Tarot back. And I ended up getting the 25th anniversary edition of the Enchanted Tarot. So it came in this huge box with a cool book and everything like that, and there you go. And I was like, ooh, like even more fancy than my very first deck. It came in this cool, it had this cool little pouch with it, and it's these ginormous cards to mark its 25th anniversary. So it's got like slightly metallic gold backs, which is pretty cool. They are massive, so I end up just like top shuffling them, or I kind of like just kind of like drop shuffle them. I don't really riffle shuffle, but I kind of like drop shuffle them. But yeah, and I think that having them this large and being able to see the images more clearly than I did when I had the smaller deck actually gives me a deeper connection with the deck. And I have tried using this deck with Wally, but Wally is actually not a cards puma. He'd rather walk across my cards and throw his toys on my cards than actually use the cards with me. However, our Psycho Panther Loki loves working with my cards. So I have worked with this deck with Loki. And every once in a while he'll pick out some cards. He's not as good as Presley used to be, but yeah, still pretty good. So I am happy to have the Enchanted Tarot back in my life, but that's basically my tarot story. Hashtag my first tarot was, you know, I knew a lot, or at least I was like in the realm of like learning about the metaphysical and the esoteric and stuff like that, leading up into actually getting my very first tarot deck back in 2000. So in 2000 was not like my first foray into, you know, all of this. It was just when I actually just got my first actual deck of cards. There wasn't a deck of playing cards or an old maid set. But yeah, so I will continue watching everybody else's responses. I find this really fascinating. And thank you, Simon, for creating this. And yeah, I will go ahead and watch more of those videos. So if you guys dug this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding 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 notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading with me, possibly with my Enchanted Tarot, just head on over to www.kittenswaitsandtarot.com. And if you head over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/kittenswaitsandtarot, I have tons of goodies over there. In my KWT tribe live chat crew tier, I do some live streams where I do readings, I create spreads specifically for my Patreons. I just did a guided meditation for the heart. That was a lot of fun. I have, you know, for some of my other tiers, I have like crystal grids of the month, you know, detailed so that you can recreate the grid, you know, at your own casa. I have my weekly draws. I have spirit, like mediumship live streams, and I have like bi-yearly readings for some. There's tons of stuff over there. You know, if you're interested, definitely go check it out. And that's it for me, spiritual homies. So I will catch you later. All right, peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.